I think it might be easier to do this one with more expensive things. So buy the brand you really want. We all want Apple gadgets, don't we? And they are the most expensive.
Yeah, that's right. They've very easily wheedled their way into most people's consciousness.
Sometimes the way people afford expensive things like that is by making the deliberate choice, free choice, to use supermarket shampoo and face cream, me included. I'm not bothered about brands for that, and it doesn't feel any more luxurious to me than Nivea.
Yeah, that's only because you grew up in the 50s. And Nivea.
No, it's not. I actually like Nivea. I like Nivea, and I buy it deliberately now as a choice. And it couldn't be better. It's a bit like business class on a plane. I don't need to be in first because business is as good as I need it to be.
Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Oh, and we're off. Look, Judith, look, we're at already in May on the 24th. We're at the same level we were in April, and we've got 6 days to go. On
when you're saying look, what are you making me look at?
Good point. Yes, I'm making you look at our podcast. Podcast statistics. That's what I'm making.
All right. So say that again. So on the 25th of what are you saying?
24th of May. We're up to 1,800 downloads, and we did that entirety in April.
Oh. And
in March we did 2,100. I think that was because of Steve's dying. That peaked that episode quite heavily. Right. Okay. But he'd love the fact that I'm using it as marketing.
Well, I don't think we were. We were being genuine.
I know we were, but anyway, he used to say that I would turn anything to a marketing.
Well, I think he was right in that regard, but that day it wasn't our intention.
No, it wasn't. But anyway, that's why March peaked. So we are doing very well. It's always on. It looks like it's on a slight downward trend there, but it's all going very well. Look at it, good chunky, good. Look, minimum 40 downloads even on our off days most of the time. So that's gone up because it used to be 5 on our off days.
Yeah.
So it's all going in the right direction. Cool. How are you? How's your week been?
Well, last week I had a week of exocets and missiles and bombshells and things, and this week I decided to relax and breathe and allow, and I'm being chilled in adversity, and I'm letting the solicitors take the strain.
Yeah, absolutely, as they should. So
that's what you pay them for, isn't it?
Well, exactly. Unfortunately, you do have to pay them through the nose. That's the point. But hopefully, you get it back if the other person's in the wrong, which this person obviously.
Well, and that's an interesting thing. Let's just debate that very quickly. I was libelled. I was going to say I was libelled in writing, but that's a tautology. I was libelled last week in connection with the sale of my flat. A party to it, not a very important party to it, decided to go into writing to my solicitor, the buyer's solicitor, the estate agents, the buyer and the buyer's father, with a pack of lies about me, which will be proven untrue. The problem then, or the opportunity or the challenge or the issue then, is whether I sue. I think I've already decided. The thing about libel is interesting. You've got a year to decide to sue.
Oh, okay.
And the definition, only a year, because in every other legal thing you've got much longer. And the definition of libel is fascinating because it has to reduce your standing in other people's eyes. And instantly, that's exactly what happens.
Absolutely.
In the end, I don't think that's what will happen. But I think I will probably settle for a retraction and an apology in writing to all parties who got the first letter.
Oh, I wouldn't. I'd be gunning for a bit more than that, because you nearly lost your flat sale over this.
Well, I still may do. But the point of this story is libel. First of all, it would be yet another court case, which I don't relish. Yeah. I don't understand why there's been all these court cases in my life anyway, but why would I voluntarily go into one? That's the first point. The second point is there's only point in suing somebody for libel if they've got some money. And I don't believe this person has.
You'd be suing the limited company that he was representing, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm not sure that he has a limited company. He's just a jumped-up clerk that collects the service charges. I think he's brassic. I can't see the point. And even if I could see the point, let's say it was the Daily Mail, for instance, would I sue the Daily Mail? I don't know.
No, you certainly wouldn't sue them, because they'd have lawyers and deep pockets.
Yeah, but don't forget, my friend Bianca's brother is the top libel lawyer in town. But the point of this is, why would one voluntarily sue anybody?
Well, yes, good point. I suppose, especially if the sale of the flat goes through. If the sale of the flat doesn't go through because of this, then you would have good reason to sue him for the amount of money you've lost.
I certainly would if that happened, I agree. However, I think a retraction and an apology to all parties will suffice my needs now that I'm calm in this second week.
Yeah, because you weren't calm when you were telling me about it the first time.
I certainly wasn't calm about it last week. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked and upset.
Yeah.
Because actually, imagine opening any newspaper or anything, a letter, an email, as I did, and reading 2 pages of slagging off about yourself, accused of things that you'd never done. I mean, that is just my worst living nightmare, actually.
Yeah, well, and the lowest, because you love people to know that you're always coming from a good place, and you are. And so what you know?
I'm a human being, but I try my very best to be honest, decent, legal, and truthful at all times. And to be accused of 3 things I'd never done, and threatened, actually. He threatened to chop down my side gate and my garden shed.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? Within 14 days. And the worst of all of it, it was all bad enough, but they delivered it at 6:15 on a Friday night when you had...
No, that was the previous bombshell. Last week was a 2 bombshell week, if you remember. Anyway, let's move swiftly along. This week I am chilled, calm, and allowing. So tell me about your week instead.
Yeah. Well, it's been an interesting week. I've come to a realization that there are people in the world who are happy hanging their arse out in public, as Chris Barry used to call it, and there are people who are not. And the people who are not struggle to make money online because of this reason. Because in order to it's property investors, Lord accumulator types that really have a hard time with it, because they don't want to build a brand, and they want to accumulate. They want to often do affiliate marketing and make money from other people's products and services, but they don't realise that you cannot recommend things without building a personal brand that people know, like, and trust. And so this week has been what's the word I'm looking for? An exercise in trying to create a brand from someone who has now decided they don't want to put their face in front of a camera. And it was interesting because just literally 4 minutes before this podcast started, Sarah came downstairs and said, "Can you take 3 pictures of me in my underwear for my blog?" And the contrast could not be more different, Judy. And so I was, I'm just interested in thinking about the people that I've worked with over years who have... I'm working with another property investor, funnily enough, and he wants to build a Facebook ads agency. It'll essentially be something selling our services on the back end. So it's very much in my interest to do it. But he doesn't want to be the face of the business either. He doesn't even want his name to be on the business. So again, how do you build a brand when you don't want to be the face of the brand? That might be a client challenge of the week for one.
Yeah, it's a nice one, actually.
Yeah, it is. So that's the other thing. Well, I'll tell you about the other thing in my "What's Fueled Your Fire" section.
Well, why don't you segue straight along into it?
Segue straight along with possibly a funk interlude in between. Because I love that one. It still makes me laugh after a year and a half. So I went out out to dinner with my friend Kim, who you've now met, so you understand what I'm on about. And we've been friends since I was 15 and she was nearly 16. So it's 35 years, or it might even be 40. I've got no idea now. And well, over the years, we've talked about our lives and our love lives and our bit of fashion, because I used to be well into fashion. She still is. And she's very into interior design, and she does a lot of, she's a hairdresser, but she also does brand management. She puts together luxury gift hampers for a partner's company, actually, but they sell into National Trust and Waitrose and all sorts of top end down to the bottom end. So they put together hampers for Costco and people like that as well. And she was telling me, it's interesting. I started to do I'm going to backtrack a little bit now. So I started to do the foundation. The foundation is a training course where they teach you how to make software. But one of the things they first teach you is how to identify where software could solve a solution in a marketplace. And they get you ringing people. They get you ringing lots of people and asking them what's the pain you experience doing your job on a day-to-day basis? Because apparently that's where ideas for software come from. Anyway, I couldn't continue for one reason or another, and that bit always absolutely terrified me. But I've always had it in the back of my head that, software was something I wanted to get into, mainly because it's something you can hide behind. So I was out for dinner with Kim, and she was telling me, I was saying, how's it going and everything. And she entertains me royally with these stories of these buyers at these big companies and how they are terrifying on the most part, how they're very, very sure of their own opinions. And it's all about trending. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but, fashion designers pick up on it's called the zeitgeist. They pick up on things in the zeitgeist. So suddenly everyone's doing jacquard fabric and metallic buttons, if you look at the sort of high fashion thing. And that's come from the fabric shows. So designers go to the fabric shows, they fall in love with fabrics, they all fall in love with the same fabrics at once. Perhaps Game of Thrones has been on, so now it's on the medieval look. And it filters down, right down to picnic hampers, things like that. So Kim's telling me how she's desperate to find a champagne flavoured biscuit with a midnight blue packaging, and can she find one anywhere? And I said, well, where do these things come from? She says, well, it's artisan producers of food. And she said, the worst thing is they're so uncommercial, they could really do with your help, because they don't do the minimum to market their business. If, for example, there was a biscuit company who we've dealt with before, and I've requested samples from one year, they won't then send me samples of their new ranges and their new packaging the next year. So I'm thinking, it sounds like a database matchup thing. So anyway, we start getting really, really excited, to the point where we were just grinning at each other like loons at the end of the evening, because we think we've identified a really lovely bit of software that would not only help her in finding midnight blue champagne flavoured biscuits one year, but also help all those lovely little artisan producers of food out there to get their stuff to the attention of the buyers, not just people like her who put hampers together, but just buyers who are putting ranges together for Waitrose and people like that.
It beggars belief to me that if somebody had requested samples from you one year, that you wouldn't contact them at the beginning of the next season and said, would you like to receive samples from us this year? I mean, what are they like?
Well, there is a point, and that's where this software will help, because they're such small companies, sending out a sample that's going to cost them £2 or £3.
Well, I understand that. It's expensive. Yeah. But you could, there's a way around that. You could, and your Apple, but yeah. Well, yes, you could ring them up, yeah. Or you could have a ranking system of whether somebody was just trying to get a freebie, or was actually a buyer interested in putting your stuff in their hampers.
But Kim might have been a buyer last year, but she might necessarily be a buyer this year, because perhaps.
No, but you could qualify that. You could qualify that, wouldn't you?
That does involve organisation and manpower. And Kim now has got her assistant bracing himself to ring all of their favourite suppliers to say, what have you got this year? What's new on the flavour department? Because obviously salted caramel was big last year. And, what they want to know, what's trending. Because there's flavours trend as well as colours. It's fascinating. But the reason all this conversation came up was a chance remark by me where I said that we were still looking for our niche on the other business that we're creating, the more corporate business. But then we've spoken to 5 people from Digital Kent, the people who saw me speak at Digital Kent, and one of them happened to be an artisan food producer. And the other problem we've been having is that we couldn't identify a niche where there were established businesses making real products in the desire and luxury market who are turning over between 1 and 10 million. And Kim says, well, there's been hundreds of them in the artisan food market. I could give you a list tomorrow. So it's not only got us very excited about the software thing, it's actually solved my niche problem in just a casual conversation, going out for dinner.
Yeah.
Mark. So that's fueled my fire, as you can hear.
Yes, I can.
What about you then?
It's good. Good job. Mine's a short one, isn't it? I'm excited by how helpful and supportive people are being. And by people, I mean strangers and old Facebook friends who I haven't heard from a while, in sharing and supporting the small extent to which we've been marketing the summit.
Yes.
I've switched into major gear today on marketing the summit because as people, that's it. Now it's time for people to book their seats, and I'll explain why in our project update session. Yeah,
good. Well, exactly the same for me as well, because we've been very occupied with the
content. Yeah, but we're ready. Yeah,
exactly. And I think we should mention at this point we are well over our 100 target, aren't we? On
we're 109. Yes, don't say that because I'm going to say all of this in project updates. Okay.
About 4 or 5 podcasts ago, Judith and I came up with a brilliant idea. As is our way, we put it into action straight away. We wanted to create a virtual summit called Beyond the Laptop Lifestyle. We'll interview people who actually make lots of money and then have a great lifestyle and travel the world, or interesting people who have a great passion-driven lifestyle and who then make enough money on the side to fund that lifestyle. We're aiming for a real mix of real people we actually know, not going for the usual names, but a carefully chosen and hand-picked group of people who we know are doing unique work while living an enviable lifestyle and having fun. Just come over to ownitthesummit.com to find out more and to register for free for the live event on the 18th and 19th of June. We will be making recordings and you will be able to get your hands on them as part of your upgraded summit experience. Just visit ownitthesummit.com. Client challenge of the week time.
Yes, I think it is a challenge this week. It's also an opportunity. What we decided, you and I, after last week's, was that we would solidly work our way through, not necessarily week by week, but over the next year maybe, of the 28 strategies for business and personal success that our favourite chap, Thomas Leonard, wrote about in his book, The Portable Coach. And without hearing from you, I've picked number 1 of the 28 strategies.
Well, that seems logical to me.
Yeah, it's a big one. I think, well, there are 5 bullet points, which I'm going to read out in a minute, but I would struggle with 2 of those. So it's become incredibly selfish.
Yes, and it had a hyphen in it, that word, didn't it?
No, that's Marion put a hyphen in the middle of there. Marion put a hyphen in there, selfish, which actually, if you can't be selfish, you might be selfish. But we'll come back to that point later. Here we go. So I'm going to read you what Thomas Leonard says because it's just a little bullet pointy thing. Put yourself first. Be more independent and less pulled by your roles. Always remember, this is my favourite bit, always remember that if it's good for you, it's probably good for others. Clearly communicate to others what you want and who you are. This way, people can relax and will expect less of you, thus reducing possible interpersonal conflicts. Then he says, here are some things you can try doing. Now, I'm going to put this in the show notes, but if you've got a pencil and paper, ladies and gentlemen, you should be writing these down. 1, say no when you can just as easily say yes, building that muscle if it's weak. So, Nicola, I'm going to read through this list and we're going to come back and debate each point, all right?
All right.
2, buy the brand you really want, even if it's expensive. 3, stop helping people who don't provide you with the same level of help.
Oh, that's a biggie.
I can think of one for you straight away. 4, ask for exceptions and special treatment when told your request isn't possible. And number 5 is ask vendors and service professionals to customize their services to perfectly meet your needs. Oh, that's a meaty one. Okay, let's start again from the beginning. 1, Say no when you can just as easily say yes, building that muscle if it's weak. Okay, so every time an opportunity arises or somebody asks us if we'll do something or if we want to do something, we've got a choice of no or yes. And most people say yes because we want to be nice people. It takes quite a long time to learn that there are some things you probably ought to say no to, and to hell with it.
Yeah. The challenge I have with that one is I often think I want to do things and then change my mind later.
Me too. Now, this is a chance for me to remind you of my little homily that I read as a child in She magazine and never have forgotten, which is, if in doubt, say no. Because no is more easily changed to yes than yes is to no. So if you say no first and then change your mind to yes later, you'll surprise and delight. If you say yes first and then change it to no, you'll piss people off and disappoint them.
Yeah, I never forget Saint Steve used to say no all the time. And when I first heard him do it, especially when it was directed at me and one of my perfectly reasonable requests, it gave me actually a physical shock.
But quite a lot of boyfriends in my life have said no to me as well. And it's not nice.
No, it isn't nice.
So what are we saying, that the men in our lives have been more prepared to say no first than we have historically?
Well, I think it's also the fact that women are people pleasers and we also facilitate other people's lives, don't we? That's what.
Yes, we do. Yeah. So here, when the questions arise in the next week, where people want you to do something, what Thomas is recommending is that you say no even when you mean yes, or say no when you can just as easily say yes, because we're saying no as a muscle building exercise, to remind ourselves that in every opportunity or question we have that choice every time.
I don't have that many people apart from the kids asking me to do things nowadays, but
well, your clients do, and that comes full circle in a minute when we get to the unreasonable requests from clients. I think you'll probably find I tell you, the person I've had to learn to say no to most was myself. So another genius idea. No, we can't work on that one because we've got too many we're working on already. Staying up late, getting up early, working too hard, cramming a business day. All of these are opportunities to say no to oneself. Okay,
yes, that's a good one. I don't really say no to myself very often. I most often say
no. I know, because and often when clients are talking to me about overwhelm, it's often self-created because
very much.
They're excited about so many things.
Yes. Yeah.
So number one, say no when you can just as easily say yes. I bet there'll be at least one opportunity in the next week. The thing is with the kids, let's think about that, because I don't think you would ever want to say no to them if you could say yes, would you, or would you?
I wouldn't want to, but I am quite good about saying no. Things like, would you like to drive me to Gatwick at 5 a.m? No, I would not. You get a taxi with your mates, club in together. I'm not going.
Well, there's another thing there, isn't it? Would you like to drive me to Gatwick at 5 a.m? No. Would you?
Only if there was no taxis available in the entire of West Sussex.
Now, you see, it's an interesting thing, because if anybody asked me to drive them to Gatwick at 5 a.m, I'd say yes, because A, I love Gatwick, B, I love driving, C, I'd be down there and back like a grease weasel, I'd be back into bed and sleeping again.
Yeah, well, see, I can't. Once I get up, I can't go to sleep again.
I know.
You don't get to see Gatwick when you take someone to the airport. You drop.
No, but you get the whiff of aero petrol, or whatever it's called.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you get to see airplanes coming and going over your head.
You do. You get the visceral excitement of going somewhere.
Yeah, I think it must be stronger for you than it is for me.
Yeah, I think it is. Yes.
I live under Gatwick's flight path, perhaps.
Well, I'm under Heathrow's today, and it's gone quiet now. Right, let's do number 2. And I know you've got a story around this.
Uh-oh.
No, it's a good one. It's a good one. You're quite good at this one. Buy the brand you really want, even if it's expensive.
Yes, because I did, when I first learnt how to be a coach or started coaching, Rachel Turner used to tell me, what's your fluffy sock list? Because I used to feel I couldn't buy myself anything because we were all so skint and all the kids came first and all that stuff. And she used to say, what's your fluffy sock list? What are the things that make you feel good? And I'd never even given it a second's thought because I was very cynical about marketing, ironically. And I used to just buy the cheapest thing of everything, shampoo, conditioner, whatever. And it was only when I started thinking, oh, I quite like some nice makeup, and I started buying Clinique makeup because I liked it, and it was, what's it called, hypoallergenic, so it didn't irritate my eczema, and it actually did make me feel different. So I do experience this, and yes, in fact, only recently we were talking about the fact I bought over $100 worth of cosmetics last January, and I'm saving them for best. I caught myself saving them for best the other day.
Yeah.
Surely I'm the best now, aren't I? If everyone needed good cosmetics, it's now.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think that with this one, being a minimalist helps because I have fewer things, which means I can have classier things.
Yes. I love the story of your socks, your one pair of socks, what, they cashmere or something, and you.
Yes, I do have one pair of pink socks. They're cashmere, and I wore them in the last week, actually.
And then did you lovingly wash them by hand and hang them in the sunshine?
No.
So
I usually wear them forever and then throw them out and get a new pair. There's no way I could wash cashmere because it would involve hand washing and a skill that I don't have and a product I don't own.
Yeah,
I'm not. I get a pair for birthday or Christmas and make the other ones last in between. I don't wear them all that often. I wear them like slippers, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so we definitely, it doesn't matter about the marketing. It doesn't matter that there's probably an own brand version at Tesco's or Boots. It just makes us feel pampered and looked after. Lots of women go and spend £100 at a time getting a massage and things, don't they?
I think it might be easier to do this one with more expensive things. So buy the brand you really want. We all want Apple gadgets, don't we? And they are the most expensive.
Yeah, that's right. They've very easily wheedled their way into most people's consciousness.
Yeah, and
oh God, go away.
Sometimes the way people afford expensive things like that is by making the deliberate choice, free choice, to use supermarket shampoo and face cream, me included. I'm not bothered about brands for that, and it doesn't feel any more luxurious to me than Nivea.
Yeah, that's only because you grew up in the 50s. And Nivea.
No, it's not. I actually like Nivea. I like Nivea, and I buy it deliberately now as a choice. And it couldn't be better. It's a bit like business class on a plane. I don't need to be in first because business is as good as I need it to be. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So yes, that is interesting, isn't it? I mean, I find it much easier to buy good stuff for work than I do good stuff for me. So I'll buy a bit of software or a bit of hardware that I think I need without even blinking and go for the best one.
Yeah.
I still have to school myself to buy luxury items for me personally.
There was a time in my life when I might have been sliding into bankruptcy, but I was still driving a BMW. And however tough things have got in any depression, I've never stopped having my groceries delivered by Ocado, which is the luxury top end. Of course, it's irrelevant because they all do supermarket price match these days, but it makes, I like the scent, I don't know, it's a good brand match for me. Posh.
Yes, it is posh, exactly.
And it's the brand I really want, so I have the brand I really want.
Yeah, and I've never even, well, apart from when I didn't have a home, I've always had a cleaner. And that is because I absolutely loathe and detest doing things that you have to do over and over again. And that's 3 hours that I could spend making the money, more than enough money to pay for the cleaner in the time it costs her.
I don't clean, but I do a bit of tidying, and I will do a bit, we're coming up to Bank Holiday weekend, I will do a bit of small amount of hoovering and changing the sheets and laundry and things. Quite looking forward to it, funnily enough.
Yeah.
But yes, I think a cleaner is the easiest first way for a self-employed person to start outsourcing at home.
Yeah, very much so. So what's we won't get into
number 3?
Yeah.
Should we do number 3? Yeah. Stop helping people who don't provide you with the same level of help.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
It's a fantastic one.
Well, go on then.
We basically just got to stop being helpers, because actually it encourages learned helplessness in other people.
It does, yeah. I'm always constantly trying to help people with websites, even though I don't do websites for myself anymore, and it actually is a big problem because I've forgotten how to do them.
Who provides you with a great deal of help?
Oh, well, Sarah does. She's incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all right to help her. Who else provides you with help?
Heather, my sister Heather.
Yeah, it's got to be reciprocal is the name of the game here.
Yeah, it has. And
Can you think of people who you help who don't help you?
in the past, yeah, not anymore.
Not so much. That's good.
No, I'm very careful around people now.
You know what I discovered? I mean, I used to be much more of a helper than I am now. What I discovered was if you suddenly are not available to provide that help, they just move on to another helper. It's not you they want, they just want the help.
Here's a question. So I found that my circle of friends has diminished over the years because I got to the point where there were some people who only rang up when they wanted something. But then I lost their friendship because I didn't keep in touch and wasn't easily available. And does that mean, I mean, isn't that what friends do for each other, help each other reciprocally?
Not if they only asked for help.
Yeah, if they don't just...
I think you're better off at our stage of life, personally, having fewer but higher caliber friends, people you can rely on, people you can count on, people who are there in an emergency.
So I was wondering the other day if it was the fact that I don't like to chat on the phone that means I've got less friends than I used to, because they think...
I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't like to chat on the phone, and I've got fewer friends than I used to, but I'm not bothered about that. I'd rather have 5 or so top-notch friends. I'm not bothered by acquaintances.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And to be honest, after 40 years, Kim still rings me up and doesn't expect me to chat, but does want me to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. And she rarely ever asks for help. So, but she knows I'm there and she's there for me. So.
Yeah, well, maybe self-sufficiency is something that we appreciate in a friend because it's quite draining. But I think the thing here is he's reminding us relationships need to be balanced.
Yeah. And it's like yesterday when I was feeling bad and you said, do you want to call me for a moan? And I said, yes, I've only got 7 minutes, so it'll be short.
Yeah, you don't like moaning, actually, but I just had a funny feeling about you yesterday. I don't know what it was. Anyway, there we go.
Yeah.
Right, number 4.
Yeah.
Now, this one I think I would struggle with. Let me read it out loud. Ask for exceptions and special treatment when told your request isn't possible. I don't even think that one's desirable. I don't think I would ever do that. If I asked somebody for something and they said, no, sorry, we don't do that, I'd go somewhere else where they did do that.
Well, it's so funny because restaurants spring to my mind where you ask if something can be done a certain way, and the better restaurants will say, of course it can. Whereas the lower restaurants, a very funny video, Captain Lou.
Well, you know why? They don't have the profit margin at the lower level.
Yeah, that's true. There was a very funny video at the weekend. Captain Lou, who runs the Internet Marketers Cruise, was going. Yeah. He was looking for something for his bathroom, which it was a French word, which I didn't know what it was, but he summed it up quite succinctly. He said it sits over the toilet and enables your wife to put more junk in the bathroom. And he'd been sent out to look for this thing, obviously, and he had wanted to go to get a banana and strawberry smoothie, and he saw that there was one on the menu at something like Dunkin' Donuts. And he went in there and they had fresh bananas on the counter and they had fresh strawberries, and he was looking forward to his banana and strawberry smoothie. But they did he said, you use fresh ingredients on both of those. And he said, no. He said, no, we do fresh bananas, but then we do banana like syrup. I said, but you've got bananas on the counter there for people who want to buy them to eat. Why can't you just put one of them? Anyway, it's a very funny video. It went on for about 10 minutes and he went to 3 establishments and ended up in the end buying his banana in Dunkin' Donuts and taking it over to the coffee shop so that they could put a fresh banana in his coffee, because they were willing to do it, but they didn't have any bananas. And I just thought that is just hilarious. He didn't want, he just wanted it the way he wanted it, and he wasn't giving in until he got it.
Well, I used to date a chef for a decade, and we would frequently be in some of London's poshest restaurants, and he would say, can I have custard with that? And they would say no. And he would say, it's terribly easy to make custard, it's just eggs and milk. I could come into the kitchen and show you how to do it. And they would still say no. It was rare, even in a decent restaurant, that if custard wasn't on the menu, you could have custard, proper French custard, creme anglaise, with vanilla in it and everything. And I was quite uncomfortable when he did that, because it's, if you put the right key in the door, in the right key in the right lock, it opens the door. There's no point in, what your mate, Captain Lou, and my mate were doing was they're putting the wrong key in the wrong door and expecting it to open. It just seems stressful to me. I couldn't do this one. Ask for exceptions and special treatment when told your request isn't possible. No. Why would I do that? It just sounds awfully stressful. I'll just go next door where they'd be delighted to put my banana in my strawberry smoothie.
Yeah. Well, he was looking for somewhere that would be willing to do it. And
I tell you what, this is like pushing something uphill. I don't do that.
He also didn't have anything better to do and didn't want to go home to do the DIY that it was required of him.
I'll tell you what this one reminds me of. It reminds me of what Marion used to call the pizza walk. Do you remember the pizza walk?
Yes,
it's about getting practice at asking for things, and you had to go into a pizza shop, interestingly, and ask for a banana one, and they would look at you like you were a nutter. And that was the point, is, you can ask, and if you're impervious to the response, you might get what you're asking for.
Yeah. I think this one is about taking it a step further, isn't it? Because so many people don't ask in the first place. So this is about.
This one makes me a bit squirmy, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Because actually, and it relates to the next one. I'll tell you why it makes me squirmy. Because when clients put the wrong key in my door, I'm not going to open it either.
Yeah, they do try.
So when I work exclusively on Skype. Can I come around? Really?
You give in something shocking sometimes.
Well, it depends. If clients stash up sessions, I let them come around for a 3-hour one. But somebody I've never met, can I do my induction call with you face to face? No, it's not on the menu. So no, I don't put. It's like saying no, I don't do banana and strawberry smoothies, and it's uncomfortable. And one client I'm working with now, who I absolutely adore, actually asked me 3 of these questions that I had to answer no to before we started. And the first one was a bit squirmy, and the second one was very squirmy, and the third one, I said, look, you really are testing me here. It's very hard for me to say no to clients, but you've tested me 3 times, but the answer's still no. But funnily enough, we've gone on to work together and we get on like a house on fire, and we've achieved a great rapport and marvellousnesses, which I find often happens. But I don't like it when people ask me for special treatment. There you go. And I don't ask for special treatment, and I don't like it when people ask me for it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. At least it's even. At least you don't expect it.
Yeah, and also it's related to no. Say no when you can just as easily say yes. So when people ask me for special treatment, it's good practice for me to say no. I know straight away I want to say no.
Yes. I'm practicing saying no without apologising for it.
Quite.
I've done that quite a lot recently.
Absolutely. No is a complete sentence.
Yeah, exactly. Without saying, I'm sorry, no, that's not possible. I've stopped saying I'm sorry, and that's not possible.
No. Yes, no. It's no. Yeah.
It's no sandwich. I've stopped. Yes. It's now not a sandwich at all.
Okay, so here's the last one, which seems to me to be the twin of the one that's just gone before. Ask vendors, well, this is your Captain Lou. Ask vendors and service professionals to customise their services to perfectly meet your needs. Now, this reminds me of Annie Kazina, who used to ask for a discount because. Oh, yeah. I remember a sharp intake of breath. So, it comes in. Do you remember all of the colours and all of the sizes? The BT advert with Maureen Littman, where she phoned up that old codger and asked, do you have the pink in the size 12? Yes, we do, madam. Do you have it in a size 14? Yes, you do. And in the end, he said, we've got it in all of the colours and all of the sizes. But if you put it in all of the colours and all of the sizes, the client can have anything. Does it come in purple? No. So I'm not going to ask for special treatment. Why would I ask a vendor or a service professional to customise their services, which they've cleverly and carefully crafted, and I might have coached them through that process, to customise them to. God, I don't get this one.
Well, it's like, they had a banana and strawberry smoothie on the menu. When he found out it was the banana wasn't fresh, he asked them to customise it by in quite a reasonable fashion, because he could actually see a banana on the counter. It wasn't like.
Yeah, I understand the logic. But the answer is no, because that's not what we do here. And there'll be a shop that does. Now, let me just go back to this one. So if somebody came to you and you carefully crafted out your 3 options, as you always do, as we've done for the summit, free 97 and 197, and somebody said, could I have something else perfectly customised to my needs?
Tricky, isn't it? I think it's how hard it is to do it. If it's going to,
I think it might be about money. How much have you got?
Yeah. Or how long would it take me to do this and make this person happy?
There's not a chance to say no. Well, I think I suppose it depends is the answer to this one.
Yeah, it's like if someone asks us to, someone buys the recordings of the summit and they don't want them all, they just want us to send 1, 3, and 7. That would take time rather than just sending them all, wouldn't it? So that's an unreasonable request because they could.
Well, I think you just send them all and say don't listen to the others.
Yes.
Well, what's the difference?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yes, I know, but it's asking us to do the sifting rather than it's our.
Right, so let's try and think of a real world example. Okay, we go into the dry cleaner.
Yeah.
And we ask them to customise their services to perfectly meet our needs.
They're going to say no, aren't they? They're just going to say no.
Maybe. If I wanted to say, could I have it in an hour? And the man behind the counter might look at his watch and go, God, we're stacked today. No, I'm so sorry. Or he might look at his watch and go, yeah, we could do that. It's a tenner. Will that be all right?
Yeah.
And it might be.
Yeah.
So I think some businesses could do it. Perhaps you've got to have a team in order to be able to do it. Perhaps you couldn't. It's too complex, isn't it, for a one-woman work-at-home business to customise endlessly. And I wouldn't even encourage my clients to do it.
Even though I've only got 3 options, the one thing I do get asked to customise is the payment plan. Not because they're asking for credit necessarily, but because their money's in the wrong bank account, or they want to pay some on a card and some on a bank transfer. Instead of just sending a link where they pay the first amount of money and then the rest of them come out automatically, I'm constantly customising those links. So that's something to think about.
And do you want to?
No, I don't want to. I want to send one link and have them pay it, and then just
So you see, for me, this is if you're becoming incredibly selfish. There's 2 sides to this, which is, does it meet my needs?
But then if you say no, then you might lose the client.
Yeah, you might. Or you might attract into their space more ideal clients.
Good question. Good point. Yes. Very good point. Oh, that was quite a good one, wasn't it?
Well, quite stretchy, and we think we've done most of the personal development that there is available to do.
Good old Thomas. His legacy lives on from beyond the grave.
Yeah, quite stretchy, and a few exercises for people to be practicing with. And if you try one and you get surprising results, please put it on our Facebook group.
Yes, absolutely.
Page. Yeah.
Yeah, the Own It Facebook page. That's right. And if you did want to join the group, talking of which, it's still free to join at Own It, the private group. Just request to join if you're a listener, and we will let you in straight away. If you want to play along with this game, go and order the Portable Coach by Thomas Leonard off of Amazon. It's still available, and it's a really good primer to up leveling your life.
Actually, it was quite hard to get a copy.
Was it?
There's a lot of second-hand copies at a vastly inflated price.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
If you're a coach, it's worth getting it. If you're a real human being, perhaps not.
Yeah.
But I managed to find a 6-page PDF summary of it. From a website called Best Summaries.
Best Summaries. Oh, very good.
Bestsummaries.com.
Yeah, I think that book, along with 7 Habits, is if your life is not going the way it should, if you cover those 2 books, that will be a really good starting point. And
any week where we haven't got another challenge over the next 28, we're going to revisit some of these. So they're not all suitable for us, but the majority of them are.
Yeah. Did you write down my challenge from earlier? The one I came up with?
No. I don't even remember you coming up with one.
Yeah, about how to build a brand online without putting your face on it.
Oh, yes, I put that in. Yes, I mean, I didn't realise that you were offering that to me. Yes, okay. Well, it'll be in the show notes because of one thing about your week, so we can. I think it's a short answer, isn't it? You can't.
Well, I don't know. Is the answer? We would have to discuss it.
We would have to discuss it.
Minutes. Right, word of the week then.
Well, I'm going for Simplify, and I've banged up a Trello board in my own Trello called Simplify, because it's the core takeaway for me so far from the 17 speaker interviews we've done.
Wow. So you're using Trello because you don't need bits of paper, and that's simplifying things.
Well, in my project updates, I'm going to talk to you about Trello a bit, but I have notebooks and I write lists, but I prefer being digital. And what I've realised by using Trello is it's a way that you can sort of organise anything, really.
Yeah.
But anyway, simplify is my word of the week. What's yours?
Well, it was going to be exposure, but we've sort of talked about that quite a lot. So the other thing is I've done this week is I read the Life Launch book, which Chris Barrow recommended, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And I didn't like it. It was I was expecting to, and interestingly enough, I had it on my bedside table for the last year and haven't read it. So when Chris mentioned it, I thought, blimey, I think that's on my bedside table. So I went and had a look, and I thought, oh, I'll look forward to reading that at the weekend and working through all the exercises in the diligent student way that I am. But I read it all the way through, and I didn't like it. It was too dense. There was too many questions. They were too difficult questions. So what I'm looking for, it's not really a word of the week, this is it, but I'm looking to launch my life. And I would love recommendations from the readers about books.
So are we going for launch for your word?
Yes, launch.
Okay.
Or even life launch as one word.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not having that. Launch.
No, it's not. So looking for recommendations, I could just go back through 7 Habits, I suppose. Just looking for something to prompt me on how to plan the rest of my life.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? Oh, you've done it. Simplify.
I've done it.
I'm always forgetting, aren't I? Right. You kick off with project updates then.
I will. We've done 17 out of the 18 speakers recorded. I've done 17 blog posts. We've got 109 thunderclappers. We've got a social reach via thunderclap of 300,000. I think today's the day for us to move really centrally, having broken the back of all the work into the marketing of the work, specifically the $97 product, which is £66 and 86 euros. And I think we've created at least as much value of that, because I think people will want to listen to them over and over, and I know I will. And it's an opportunity for our listeners to support us to that extent, $97. But it's a way of do you remember what Eileen tried to do with the Patreon, which was too much of a faff? She has already supported us with the summit, of course, bless her. But it with more, as a friend of mine says, with more we can do more. If we've got some dosh available, we can reach more people with this podcast. We can take it stratospheric. We can just make it better all round. So I'm moving centrally in the marketing now and asking for people's support for the 97 quid level at the very least. I think they'll want the next one, 197, because that includes, and these are early bird prices, that includes a year in our pro Facebook group where we're going to encourage people to, by the end of their year, if not sooner, be living the lives that these people describe in our interviews. And I don't know if you've seen this, if you've had a look at Trello, but I have drafted out a schedule for the 2 days of the weekend with timings that start at 8 o'clock in the morning and end at 7 o'clock at night. And I've started each day strong and I've ended each day strong, and I've put the couples in the middle of the morning, and I've given us half an hour off for lunch.
Very good. I couldn't have attempted that. Do you want me to put that on the website, because it does have a
not yet. Yes, soon, but I'd like you to have a look at it first. Okay. and see if you can improve it. Yeah. And if you can, then let's agree it. And once we've agreed it, yes, let's put it on the website, or let's put it somewhere. Yeah.
Well, the website does have a whole section for a schedule. I'm just wondering, would that shoot us in the foot if we do it like that, or do you think it will make it nicer and easier for people if they know who's on when?
Well, when the people sign up for the free level, they could get the schedule.
Well, okay, right. Well, the only thing is that it's a really nice way of laying them out, because I'm going to look at that Trello board and I'm not going to be able to see the shape of it because it's not.
I understand. Yeah. But when you have a look at it, you'll see my proposed order. Both days begin with a woman and end with a man, and the couples are inserted mid-morning, 5 sessions before lunch, 4 in the afternoon. And then it goes man, woman, apart from that, I think.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Well, it sounds fine.
Well, I think it is fine, actually, because there's nothing to choose between any of the speakers.
No, so awesome. So
bang it up, Nicola, bang it up, borrow it from my Trello boards, bang it up, and let's have a look.
Okay, all right. Because as soon as I see the pictures in the right order, I'll be able to see it better.
Okay.
Okay, my week's been all about the techie stuff. My social media sharing has been, which I'm half doing and Sarah's half doing, has been hampered horribly by photo issues. In order to share on Instagram and Snapchat and things like that, you have to have the photos in your photo roll on your phone. And I've been importing them from my computer to the photo roll on my phone, but then they don't appear on the photo roll on my phone because iCloud isn't syncing. Anyway, it's a long, painful story. It means that in the seconds I have between other things I'm supposed to be doing to do this social media sharing, I haven't been able to do it because the bloody photos haven't been there. So that's causing me problems, but I will get on top of it today because my schedule eases off a bit from today. I've fully investigated Webinar Jam and had several lengthy conversations. We are going to go with Webinar Jam because it's a lovely bit of software, and the main challenges with it are that the Google Hangouts end of it, the delay is coming down dramatically. It used to be a minute's delay before people watching it would hear us or see us or whatever we're doing. But it's now 35 seconds on average. However, that does depend largely on the person's connection at the other end. However, Webinar Jam does do a good job when people sign up of sending follow-up emails. And in those follow-up emails are recommendations for how to get the best out of your summit experience in terms of turning everything else off on your computer that might interfere with, the whole video presentation. But what I don't want to happen is for us to get onto that webinar and people start saying, I can't hear you, I can't see you, and me get sucked into trying to troubleshoot individual issues, which are probably going to be caused by their internet connection rather than our transmission.
Then our outgoing message has to say that, and we can send one specifically about that, how to help yourself have your best summit experience on the weekend. And if it's for free, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, good point. Except people do, try.
Well, it'll be a shame. It'll be a shame and a disappointment. But if it's mainly down to their tech, there's nothing we can do about it.
I won't know that. So this will be my biggest challenge over the 2 days. Will be not getting caught up and stressed.
Well, you see, this happens in my live groups that I do, and when I do my live calls with Small Business Big Magic, I shut down everything else. And when I come off the call 90 minutes later, and I see all these messages in Facebook going, I couldn't get on. You can't do both at the same time.
No, you can't.
If people, I think I can help you with that on the day, but it would be useful to manage people's expectations simply by passing on what Webinar Jam are teaching you, which is, we discovered it with one of our speakers. If they turned off everything else, we had a better connection with them. Yeah. So we'll have to advise that to people. You'll get your best experience of the weekend if you're not multi.
We might be able to pin it to the top of the chat as well, mightn't we? And say it when we restart every session. The other thing is, so now the other thing is that it will be going out on Google Hangouts Live, but they won't be having such a good experience if they go there. If they do it from within the Webinar Jam software, they'll have the chat experience with us. So we will talk about what the speakers are talking about at the same time. And then where the recording will be shared into my webinar, this is for people who are interested in doing the similar kind of thing. So the recording will be shared into my YouTube channel, but it will be shared on unlisted. So as soon as it goes off, at the end, it'll be saved for us. But the reason there'll be blank spots where the videos of the speakers are. So I'm pre-creating videos of the speakers with their photograph and how to get how to find them online and all that stuff. Yeah. But the YouTube channel bit will have big blank spots, but we can splice in the videos afterwards. It can't Webinar Jam. If you have an exact replica replay in Webinar Jam, it will record everything. So that if, for example, someone comes along a day later or a week later and they watch the whole thing, they will also see the videos of the speakers. But I can't then download that recording, which is a bit daft, I think. You should be able to. But they say it's because it's all held on the Google Hangouts platform, and they're just funneling it through back into the Webinar Jam software. So more techie investigations
But people won't be able to watch it on YouTube in perpetuity, will they?
No, they won't. No, and they won't be able to watch it on Webinar Jam in perpetuity because I'm just going to say that it's a like a 12-hour replay period.
Yeah.
Something like that. So the reason you do that is if people come along and they're a bit late, they can start watching from the beginning. But obviously, we would rather people buy the recordings than come back a week later and watch them for free. So that's why I'm cutting it off after 12 hours.
Yeah.
But it is, generally speaking, a really good platform. The only thing I can see, and it's been a joy to set up and everything, the only thing I can see that's a problem is this 35 second.
Well, do you know what I think we should do? We should test it with some proper guinea pigs and one speaker call.
Well, we could do that afterwards.
No, you and I have tested it. That's no good because we're organisers or panellists or whatever you call it.
Well, we could put
we need
test in the group.
Well, I think we should invite 5 people to 1 hour live, and let's see what difficulties they have in using it.
We don't have to have an hour. We could have half an hour would do it.
One of the interviews.
Yeah, well, we got an interview on a video already, so we could do that. We're ready to do that.
Yeah, well, I think we should because we won't be able to tell what the user experience is because ours isn't the same.
Yeah. So I suggest then when we come off this call, because we do have an hour booked for marketing, we could actually put the test registration link in the group and say anyone around to hang out with us.
Well, I think we should do it by appointment.
Okay. All right.
I haven't got an hour actually.
Right.
I had half an hour, but I don't think we should rush onto it. I'm saying we've got 3 or 4 weeks. Yes. I think we should set up a proper test where we can have 5 of our favourite people there and see what their tech issues are, if anything.
Yeah, okay, and then that might make it all less a bit stressful on the day.
Quite.
Yeah, cool.
Actually, what it'll satisfy us that we've done our best, that the free user experience is as good as it can be.
Yeah, good point.
All right.
Okie dokes.
Whether you are a raving fan of our podcast or a relative newbie, we'd love you to become one of our global ambassadors. This is a secret group on Facebook where we have fun and make money. And share with your friends both online and off using your affiliate link. That way your friends get a 20% discount and you make $67 and so do we. Help us to keep the podcast alive and thriving. Go to ownitthepodcast.com/affiliates to find out more.
Who or what's impressed this week?
Oh, my yellow tablets.
Oh, are they still going strong, are they?
Well, I had this breakthrough moment on the weekend. Just for the listener, I'm on about day, I don't know, somewhere between 45 and 50 of taking every day a tablet, which is massive amounts of turmeric, which is supposed to be good for arthritis, as my mother used to call it. And it's got other herbally things in there as well. And my knees haven't worked for 10 years. And one day in the last week, was it over the weekend? I think it might have been. I was sitting on my chair, and you know how this is a weird and wonderful thing. You know, before you go to move any part of your body, there is a lightning fast communication from your brain that that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Well, this wasn't a lightning fast thing, but I was sitting in my chair. Normally, because of my knees don't work, and they're particularly difficult with stairs, and you need a knee for an awful lot of things that you don't know that you need them for until you don't need them anymore, like carrying stairs, carrying things. You take the weight on your knees quite often. Yeah. Going up and down stairs, up is easier than down. For instance, you can't do down without knees. All sorts of things. But anyway, I can't haul myself out of a chair without some sort of help. And I suddenly, over the weekend, realised, do you know, I can get out of this chair without hanging on to anything. Because of that brain message I'm trying to describe, where your brain knows, it's a fast thing, normally lightning fast. But I suddenly had this awareness. It's a bit like, I'll tell you another thing you need knees for is getting in and out of the bath. So I just suddenly knew I could get out of a chair without hanging on to anything. And that was day 43, I think, when that happened.
Wow.
Well, it's amazing, I can't tell you. I mean, because being able to be more flexible of knee will have a massive change in my life.
Yeah. Do you remember that one Christmas party for the money gym we had? And we decided to have it at the top of the...
Oh my God! And they wanted to emergency exit us from the 42nd floor of the NatWest Tower, and each of the 42nd floors had 2 lots of steps. So that was 84. Well, we fortunately didn't get down to the bottom. We only got down to about level 20 something. But we've been down 40 flights of stairs with my stiff knees. I mean, frankly, they made us leave everything behind, coats and things. Frankly, if the place was going to explode, I was ready for it.
We got down past the restaurant floor, the Marco Pierre White's restaurant, where we were supposed to be having dinner, and then they put us in the lift to send us right back up to the top again.
Well, that's right. Yes, I mean, it wasn't Marco. It was Gary. What was Gary called?
Oh, I can't remember.
Gary with the spiky hair. I've forgotten. But anyway, never mind.
Rhodes.
So
that's it.
Gary Rhodes. That's it. So what's impressed me is the little yellow tablet, the turmeric tablet.
They sound marvellous.
I know.
So, there you go. I'll continue.
And there's one lady that followed that thread on Facebook. It's completely, in about 50 days, completely unfolded an arthritic hand.
Wow.
I know.
That is incredible.
And this concept has been around for a long time, that massive doses of turmeric, and I bought turmeric and I was going to juice turmeric, but the point of the formulation of the pill is you couldn't possibly eat as much turmeric if you ate turmeric in every waking moment as you can. That's in the one tablet. Yeah.
So what's impressed me this week is she came up earlier, Sarah at Tiny Web Services. The client in question has been sending us massive amounts of stuff. Every single affiliate program she's ever signed up for in her entire life. And there's not only the different ways to log in, different ways to access the affiliate links. Most of them don't have any. That's been a real shocker, is how many affiliate programs do not provide you with anything in way of
banners,
banners or content on your site. And Sarah's just been sorting through it all and coherentizing it. That's a new word, isn't it?
I don't think it's a word, but we know what you mean.
Yes, she's been making it all coherent, putting it into order. I mean, really, I was in despair on Wednesday, and she's just making it into order out of chaos. It's brilliant.
Good.
That takes a certain kind of brain, I think.
and patience.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. All right, that's us done. Thank you very much for joining me. And
not at all. See you next week.
Same time, same place.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.